Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today we will be using consonance and dissonance to write more interesting melodies. Dissonance and consonance allow us to write melodies that are longer and more compelling. They allow us to say, we're not quite finished yet. It compels the listener to say, that's not done yet, but keep going. I want you to finish it. I want you to resolve to something that sounds consonant. And so dissonance is a big deal to be able to use in pretty much any genre. It's always going to be a useful thing. You can have rhythmic dissonance. We're not going to talk about that really in this series. That's a pretty advanced topic. So I just want to mention it as a side note that there's more to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a melody. Now I wrote out this whole harmony part. You don't need to worry about it. It's just an accompaniment to the melody. And this is more advanced stuff. We will be getting into writing stuff like this later. But what we're going to do is we're going to write a melody, and we're going to use dissonance to sort of put it on edge, make it sound a little funny. Because before you got really familiar with the major scale and the way that sounded, let's get away from that and look at some other sounds we have available to us. So I still avoided a key signature. What I want you to do is I want you to pick a key that is not C major. So for example, I picked D. So D major, 2 sharp, C sharp, F sharp. I'm just looking for those. But you don't have to strictly stick to the key. So you're going to still write in all the keys as you would if you were writing diatonically in the key of D major, or whatever key you pick. Or you could say pick G or F or some other key, and maybe an easy one. Maybe have a fun one like E or A flat. And you're going to write out a melody, and then you're going to use dissonance to make it a more interesting melody. So what I did was I actually started writing the dissonance right off the bat. But what I did was I wrote out my melody, and when you're writing this, you want consonant things to generally be on the strong beats of your music. So here we have beat 1. That is the most important beat of the measure. So if you put something that is dissonant, not included in the scale, or is included in the scale but is considered a dissonant interval, it will be extra jarring if you put it on beats 1 or beat 3 in a 4/4 measure. If you put it on beats 2 and 4, those are still strong. If you put them on the ands of any of those beats, that'll be a weaker beat. So it'll actually be more acceptable there. So I want you to play with this bounce. Move the notes around. See, hey, is this okay? For example, this C sharp, even though it is included in the key of D major, is a dissonant interval. And it resolves upward. So this will be a nice upward, but it is on the strongest beat of the measure. So it is unsettling. It says, keep going. We're definitely not done yet. Watch. So it's like, it's like, it has to go. Like if we just stop there, it's like, ooh, like it didn't finish, you know? It wants to keep going. So this is the power we have. And of course, you're going to do this according to your taste and whatever you want to do. I wanted this sort of like weird, I don't know, I picture like clowns, just weirdly weird clowns or something. I don't know. So that's what we have going on here. And you notice that we have notes like this. And so this G sharp is not in the key of D. And we don't care about all the other things this can mean. We'll actually define these tools later on. But what we do care about, it's not in the key of C, but it is on an and beat. So we notice this is a dissonant interval, but it is less jarring to our ear because it is on a weak beat. An exceptionally weaker beat compared to the more powerful beats around it. And the more powerful beats are playing a perfect fifth. So if you want to, and I actually kind of recommend it, go through and write in all the melodic intervals like we did in the previous exercises with melodies, because you'll see these things. You'll be like, whoa, look at this. Pay attention to how the dissonant sound compared to the consonants. And you'll get this idea in your head of like what's going to be cool. I guarantee you it'll come in handy big time in harmony too. When you're being asked to write melodies all the time, you have an idea of what melodic tools you're going to reach for. So just give this a listen. Compare this dissonance with this dissonance. So, and on a major, why not? So that's what's going on there. So there's a couple other things I want to throw in, common mistakes that happen. When you're writing in parts, there is a barring scheme that happens. And usually MuseScore will do it for you. MuseScore, however, for example, when I was writing in this bottom part, I wrote in some chords. You don't need to worry about the chords. But if you do choose to write in the chords, MuseScore was doing this for me. It was splitting things up like this. This is incorrect because what happens is when you write in things, they should be barred to the beat. They should outline your meter. And so I'm assuming you know like what meter. So this is like the quarter note gets the beat. There's 4 quarter notes in a measure. And so right now what we've done is we've subdivided a beat. It's it's not ambiguous, but it's unclear to the musician. You're making them do more work, look at more symbols than they should have to. When you include rest like this, they should clue whoever's reading your music into that, like, oh, this has been broken up. And the 8th note gives a clue on like, oh, there's this much left over of whatever it was that I'm supposed to play. So when you have this, they're gonna think, oh, there's gonna be like some 8th note thing going on. Like they just do this, like when they're reading music, because music is all barred correctly, at least what they're reading should be. So it's like, that's what they do. So when they see this, it's just unsettling to look at. Like it just puts them off. So what you do is you need to bar it correctly. So I don't break up this beat. And so this would just be a quarter rest. And so now it's been barred correctly because now I'm using beat 1, but I want to rest here. So I break it up. Now you notice this gets barred for me. And it's not barred with this next note. That is because this takes up 1 beat. So it's been barred to the beat. You can get all sorts of sort of unusual circumstances, but just when you're working with music, just because you're working in MuseScore doesn't guarantee you're going to have the right barring. And I'll strive to give you good barring examples. Sometimes I don't go through that final editing stage. You also notice things like sharps and flats in the same measure. And there are sort of different circumstances when each one is appropriate. For example, this is generally frowned upon, what's going on here, but it would be taken care of by a key signature. So it's weird when you're writing in, because we're writing in the key of D, so there's 2 sharps. So this would actually be implied. So I'd still put a flat here, and that sharp would just be in the key signature. What I mean is, when you're going down, you generally use flats. When you're going up, you use sharps. That's why here, I'm going up and I'm going down. You will consider the key as well while you're doing this. So, yeah, there's proper ways to do these things. For example, this F sharp and this C sharp, even though I'm going down, that would be in the key signature. So there'd just be no symbols. It would be assumed those are the notes. So I wouldn't have to write anything here. I'd have to put the natural there though, because I'm resolving I'm not resolving. I'm moving to the C, natural. Over here, the reason why it's okay right now is because this would, again, be in the key signature and I'm going down. So the flat would be appropriate. It makes sense to go down. Flats are generally conceived that way, and sharps are generally conceived going up. So that's some of the reasons why the sharps and flats have been placed the way they have been. But write out a cool melody. Just come up with some interesting dissonances that enhance your melody or make it more compelling, or just sound plain different. You don't have to write some incredible sounding thing. Just something simple. I feel sometimes people write things that are too crazy. If you do choose to write in chords and you're going to do it like I did it when I was first starting, I just typed in notes until I found something that sounded cool. That was my game. That's what I did. Now I play a very different game. I actually have reasons, but when you do, I want you to make it something that is playable. Like this is easily playable. Like you could hand this to a musician, a piano player, no problem. They could get this out. So for me, I'd have to practice a little bit. I'm not totally incredible at piano, but this would not be hard. I could pick this up in maybe a couple minutes. So I don't want anything insane. That's some people just write these crazy things. Every instructor I talk to who's ever taught theory or is currently teaching theory is you'll get marked down if you write in ridiculous things about not playable, -3 or whatever. And so it's don't lose stupid points over stupid things. But anyways, fun exercise. I'm kind of curious to see what you come up with. It's always interesting. Sometimes they're incredible. Sometimes, you're growing. But go ahead and put a link in the description of a screenshot of your video playthrough, and I might check. If it's been a while, I might not check them out. But I'll give a look at whatever happens on down there. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe. If you have any pieces of advice for people, or you spotted some stupid error that I've missed, let me know. I'll fix it. And have a blessed day.